Let me not hear again the voice of the Lord my God, neither let me see this great fire any more, that I die not. And the Lord said to me, They have spoken well, that which they have spoken. You're supposed to be scared to death. Absolutely terrified. Terrified of God. Both of the consequences of going against his laws, and once you get a little further, or a whole, really a whole lot further, to start to be afraid to lose all of the amazingness, having him run away when you do something horrible, and leave you abandoned. I just finished listening to Musar Perkei 23. I think that's what it was. And Rabbi Reuben finished with, have you thought about your fear of heaven, your fear of God today? Did you think about it this morning? Did you think about it this afternoon? Did you think about it? Have you thought about it tonight? I definitely thought about my Eretz Shemayim this morning a lot, for like over an hour straight. Just don't you see the fire? It's right there. It's everywhere. It's gonna burn us all if we don't run away from sins. And the odd thing is, one of the students asked a question at the end of the shiur about women dressing immodestly. He's like, I can't remember, didn't really hear clearly what the entire question was, but it was basically said, it's kind of scary how easy it is for a woman to be a maktir rabin, like someone who causes the public to sin. All they have to do is like not wear very many clothes, or wear tight clothes, and instantly they become. It's a lot harder for a guy to do, to cause the public to sin like that, where all a woman has to do is just dress in a certain way, or act in a certain way, walk down the street, or God have mercy, these days just post a video online. But I really don't like leaving the house a lot of the times, almost any time, for just about any reason. But sometimes you have to go out of the house to do stuff. I was just begging God for the strength to get through. It was extra rough this today because I did not feel that great, and on top of it, it's just like immodest women everywhere, and it's an extreme challenge trying to like stare somewhere where there's not immodesty. Like, I don't know, I just can't stare at a point. At least I couldn't this morning because I was in, you know, an uncomfortable condition. If I was like peaceful and tranquil, maybe it might be a little easier. But for whatever reason, I do not have an easy time standing in one place. My legs seem to like just freak out. They get like really tight and painful. I was thinking about another thing that Robert Rubin said in one of his shurim from something I watched a couple months ago, I think. But I think it was in one of the earlier Jewish Haskafa shurim where he says, at the end of the day, if you're not tired, you didn't fight the Yetzer Hara. At least not nearly as hard as you should have. There's something wrong if you're not tired at the end of the day. I was really tired. I had to lay down. Thank God I was able to have the strength to go meet my mom, and I gave her some garlic and some Tikkun Abri USBs for her and my brother and whoever else she decided to give them to, and I had a good talk about God and Torah and doing kiruv. You know, it's really amazing how people know what the truth is. Like I was talking to my mom about immodesty, and she like it was really hot here today. At least hotter than it has been for a week or so. And I really did not want to leave the house at all. I mean, I had to the first time, but definitely didn't want to leave again. But I needed to get these Torah USBs out to as many people as I possibly can before the window of mercy closes. I think there's about a month left before Yom Kippur. 30 days, 29 or 30 days. But there's only 20 days until New Year's, to Rosh Hashanah. That is Judgment Day. Yom Kippur is just when judgment is sealed. The last 10 days are just like trying to do your best to pile as many merits on the good side of the scale as we possibly can, so we're extra sure that we have the merit for another year, and not just another year, but another year of good stuff, another year of blessings, of good health and helping more people do teshuvah with God's help. That's God's infinite hope. I'm not sure if you guys listen to Rabbi Rubin's shiurim at all, let alone thoroughly enough to take advantage of getting free USBs. But if you didn't, and you want some to for yourself, one for yourself, or even just to hand them all out to a couple people. I have a few left. If you want to send me an email, it'd probably be best if you sent me a message or somewhere first, so I know to check the email, because I rarely do that anymore, because I pretty much gave up since it's just nothing important really, other than stuff from SoundCloud trying to get me to launch my music career. I don't know if that's important or not. God, I hope not. All that matters though is that the tools to help people get to someone, so that they can hopefully watch a movie or listen to a show, and before it's too late this year, which time is running out really fast, because you give them out to people, and then who knows if they're just gonna collect dust and procrastinate or whatever. But I stopped worrying about that, like what's gonna happen to them. I remember what Robert Rubin said: "Don't think about it. Just hand them out, give them to people, and just say, this is really interesting, or this is great, or this is inspirational." It helped me a lot. And the other thing I've done is pray to God that they just go somewhere where they will help someone do teshuva. I told God that it doesn't matter if I get the merits, or whoever. It's also one factor is whoever sponsored the Kier materials. Where they go is also a factor on who it was that essentially paid for it, or you know, enabled the Torah to be spread. And maybe a person has merit to donate a bunch of money, but maybe they don't have merit to for very many people to do kiruv. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully everyone has the merit to help people do teshuva, and at least get a foot in the door of the gates of repentance, and have a chance. But the most important thing is to help other people. And the really sneaky tricks, even if you don't have enough merits at first, and you're honest about your intentions, eventually God kind of has to give you the merits, just because you're doing it for someone else. Maybe not as much as other cases or certain cases, but at least a little bit. most important thing is to try to help people and to emulate God's traits. God surely doesn't think about his benefit when he does something. At least not really. Especially for most things God does. Like he feeds millions and billions of wicked people, and many that just outright go against him and curse his name and desecrate the Torah. But he still gives them food and a place to live and air to breathe. I don't think there's any human being ever that would be as merciful as God is. Not ever. One thing I learned recently about Teshuvah, or I kind of remember hearing about it a while back, but it didn't really sink in a whole lot. But is if you do Teshuvah once, one year for a past sin, and you don't fail in it again, if you're a what they call about Teshuvah, someone who has mastered their repentance and has stopped sinning in whatever sin it was, whether it's theft or wasting seed or murder, whatever it is. You're only supposed to do Teshuvah for it once, one year, and then we just have to make sure that our Teshuvah is like serious, and we take it seriously, so God takes it seriously, and then we get tested and we pass, and then it's history. Then it's not not anything we have to worry about ever again. At least not as far as being on a record. It's wiped clean. Praise God for his mercy. So if you have something like that, just keep that in mind. Do real serious Teshuvah one time, and then or at least like the first year maybe, until you're solid in it. But don't keep like bringing it up. Because it's not good. It beats the well, one, it kind of like defeats the purpose, and it like destroys a huge part of the aspect of Teshuvah being removing it. If it's always in the front of your mind, as far as like being a sin that you're guilty of, but it's not really gone. You just want to do it and then you're clean. For a lot of sins, there's still going to be like the severe Yitzhar. And a lot of times, especially for things that we really screwed up badly, we'll probably get more than one test. That's what the definition of Baal Teshuva is, master of repentance. Someone who stops the sin and goes through all the steps of doing Teshuva, stop the sin, build a fence around the sin to prevent the sin, prevent from transgressing the sin again. Regret the sin and confess before God and ask for His forgiveness. And if it's between yourself and another person, you have to confess to that person individually and apologize and ask for forgiveness to the person as well, because God can't forgive crimes between man and man, or one person and another. He says, between you and me, I am infinitely merciful. Between you and someone else, I'm out of the picture. That is between you guys. So you gotta do the hard work. That's one great thing about embarrassment, though, is embarrassment is atonement for sins. So it's really good if you can just accept it and just beg God for the strength to do it and get it over with, and love every second of it. I know it's certainly not easy, especially not for me, but it's really good, because the alternatives to embarrassment are really not pleasant at all. At all. At all. Rosh Hashanah is on the 26th of September this year. And just to repeat this for anyone that doesn't know, the Goyim aren't commanded to observe any of the holidays. So we can pray and learn Torah, but we shouldn't fast and or do anything else. We definitely shouldn't blow the shofar. And don't act like a half a Jew, unless you're actually in the process of conversion. Which then you shouldn't be taking advice from some rando on the internet. You should be listening to your rabbi. Oh, I forgot to tell a story about finish the story about how people know the truth. I was talking to my mom about my experience this morning and how hard it was, and telling her without the Torah I would have been just so doomed. Not just then, but so many times throughout the last year or more. And she asked, "Am I dressed immodestly?" And people people know the truth. At least, most of the basics of the Torah, people know in their heart. God programs us with everything that we're supposed to follow. We get taught, so we know, intrinsically. It's just the only reason people act like they don't know or seem to not know is because they're so corrupted by sins that the truth gets just buried in there. The Yetzirah is so strong in some people that the truth is literally smothered by impurity and filth. And the soul can barely breathe. But if a person's not completely like that, they know. And my mom said, I'm not trying to be modest. I told her, I know, Mom, there's lots of, there's an endless amount of stuff that people do people do in their life because of horrible horrible decay of society and following after our desires. And it's only after learning some Torah that we get reminded of what the truth is, and we can hopefully, with God's help, go back to it and follow it. I told her, well, now you know, and what you do from now on is what matters most. Hopefully, God grants us all the strength to overpower our Yetzirah and to live the truth, because the truth is the only thing that lasts forever. Certainly not lies. Hopefully, you guys are tired. If it's nighttime or at the end of the day when you're listening to this, hopefully you guys are tired because you fought the Yitzhak, fought the Satan, the evil inclination, and really frustrated his plans to make you fail. Nobody's perfect, most of all me. Well, the important thing is that we try and that we never ever give up. Not ever. Because if we give up, then we let Satan win. we always have to just cling to God and beg Him for help and pray to Him constantly and learn it as much Torah as we possibly can and burn it into our soul so we can have some small chance of knowing what is the Yetzer Hara in certain instances and what is God's will all the time. As like I mentioned numerous times, once a person starts getting to a certain level of Torah observance, the Yetzer Hara morphs and grows with a person, and it's like the original artificial intelligence, but it's not artificial. It's just an angel that God created, and He adapts to every single person as they increase in their service of God. And at a certain point, most of the Yetzer Hara will be no longer be sins after you get a certain distance from the sins. It will just be less important mitzvot. Or he might, the really scary thing is they can let a person go freewheeling for almost their entire lifetime without like no hindrance to where they build themselves up to be just a huge even a huge well-respected rabbi, and all of a sudden he will show up and that person will not know what to do because they haven't had a Yetzer Hara for like 40 or 50 years or however long. And it'll take all that they've learned, everything that they've done, all the good and all the merits, and it'll use one weak spot, pride or lust or anger or something, and just push a button in the right moment and watch it all explode. God forbid. That's why a person's only hope is to just keep learning. We have to. That was another really important thing I need to drive home to my own soul right now, and if I can, to you guys, whoever is listening out there, at the end of the Musar Perkei about 23, Rabbi Reuben says, he talks about thing I mentioned before from the Gemara, the person that picks and chooses the halakha from one rabbi and the other, is treating the Torah like some kind of a ShopRite or smorgasbord of God's laws that you can follow. You just pick certain, like I like some of this and some of that, and I'll have some Rambam with some Rashi, and I like wigs from the Zohar and Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, or the Arizal, and you're a fool and a blind person, and you're doomed. Because anyone that's honest with themselves knows in their heart what they're doing. If they do something like that, you're dishonest. Because you have to know that's garbage. Not how That's not how the truth works. You can't just like pick whatever you want to do from wherever and think that's gonna be equal out on the scales of justice in heaven. You have to pick a rabbi and stick to them, and no sin will come to you. I can't remember if that's like if there's an actual verse in the Torah, or if it's please forgive me. I'm sorry for not having a source, but the reason why is if you pick a rabbi and stick to them, and they pick a rabbi, and it goes all the way back to Moshe Rabbeinu, to Moses, and straight from God's mouth. If you have that to rely on, then you're following the Torah as God laid it out, following His rules, and He's going to give you, if you're trying the best that you can, then God is going to give you the help to not commit sins. Not that there won't always be some serious challenges, but if you do what the Torah says and you stick to your rabbi, and you fear your rabbi like you fear God, then we will have a chance to merit going to the good place. If we do enough teshuva and enough kiruv, maybe we could even skip having to go to the giant washing machine, which is really a lot more than a washing machine. Gehinom is only a washing machine for the righteous. It's still not comfortable. I mean, people think like, a washing machine. You just put clothes in there and the clothes move around. You don't think like from the perspective of an article of clothing or a shoe. You throw a shoe in a washing machine and it gets thrashed around. If you were that shoe, do you think you would think it's just a washing machine? Seems like a pretty not fun thing to do. And that's just for the people who are righteous, that just had a few tikkunim of rectifications that they didn't, perfect in their soul while they're here in this world. The wicked people descend way, way down. And if they're more wicked than righteous, they're way all the way to the bottom and they never come out. At least unless God has some kind of infinite mercy, shines his infinite aspect of mercy on them and finds some merit in their life for them to get another chance in this world. Otherwise, they just get burnt to a crisp after millions and millions and trillions of years. Eventually, once this world is done, the and God has no more use for Gehinnom, and all it will be left is Gan Eden, all it will be left is heaven. Eventually, Gehinnom is going to get closed up, and when that happens, all the souls are either going to be, merit to go to Gan Eden if they got clean, or they'll just be utterly destroyed. And the few sparks of holiness that are in there God will take back, and then everything else will just get turned into nothing, cease to exist. So don't treat the truth like a Walmart. Like you just go through the discount aisle and pick and choose what's on sale. Because that's how the New Testament was formed, and the church and the Enlightenment movement and heretics and fake Mashiachs like Septites V and Yeshu Imakshimo. And conservative and reform and everyone else that doesn't follow the Torah, they follow their own desires. I mean, if you learn enough and you beg God to help you, if you really want to know the truth, it's really simple. I'm not going to say it's easy because it's not. And there's probably never going to be a time where there's not, like Robert Rubin says, an inner heretic inside that occasionally screams, some kind of heretical statement or thought or idea. You just have to have enough Torah to, bash the heretic back inside into a corner. Tell it to shut up because you know where he's really coming from. You can take his heretical garbage and go peddle it to the Satan. But if you burn, some real strong Musar into your soul, something that is, that stirs your heart, and that gets you to have just immense fear of God, and to remember, the core fundamentals of keeping straight on the path. It's a lot easier to get the heretic to shut up. And also, it's good to have all the miracles that God did for you somewhere easy, close at hand, so you can remind yourself, like, I was in the pit of despair and, I had absolutely no hope whatsoever, and God redeemed me out of the pit, and miracle after miracle that I don't think I was worthy of receiving. I still still got. So quit trying to get me to be ungrateful. If you don't know what Musar is, it's like character development. It's like words of rebuke to kind of like wake you up and iron out all the horrible flaws that a person has. The stronger, the better. Most people don't like Musar, though, sadly. But that's what all the greatest rabbis always did. They always learned and taught a lot of Musar. And pretty much every great rabbi for at least most of the great rabbis for the last like 300 years all came from like one small group of people, one small group of yeshivas in, so I think it's in what used to be Russia, or it might still be Russia, but like before it was whatever it is now. But pretty much everything, like almost all the great rabbis for the last few hundred years, all come from the this one group from a school rabbis that taught really strong Musar. But a lot of people don't like Musar. They don't like fear of heaven. I don't like a lot of stuff that's good for them. But they really like the Yetzirah, unfortunately. He is very sneaky. May God please have mercy on us all and break him to bits and bind him up, at least until Yom Kippur. Or at least tie one hand behind his back or something. Please, no, bind him, break him, and bind him up and stuff him under your throne of glory for the next 30 days or whatever it is till Yom Kippur. So more people can do Teshuvah, please. Including myself. I need to get to sleep. Today was rough, and I'm tired. Hopefully you're tired too from the fight that you gave us to Satan today. And if you're not, there's always tomorrow. Beg God for the help to help you learn more and apply it to your life, and to grant you the wisdom and the strength to overpower the Yetzirah, so we can all overpower the Yetzirah. So we can do full and complete Teshuvah with God's help. so that we can finally choose life and fulfill His will, fulfill God's will, and not our own. Talk to you guys soon.